been going extremely well in spite of the circumstances, or maybe because of the circumstances. The collective effort of everybody here in TUSD, our students, our parents, everybody's pulled together and we have just done tremendous work. We are the largest district in LA County that's open for in-person instruction. We were one of the first, and we've done it safely.
One of the casualties of the COVID-19 crisis was, of course, the closing of our schools for in-person learning. It altered the education system as we knew it. Schools switched to virtual learning, and no one could say when kids could return to the classroom. Well, after almost a year of schools remaining vacant, Torrance Unified School District was able to provide potential roadmaps for returning some students to campuses for in-person learning. It was all based on LA County's coronavirus infection rates. Interim Superintendent Dr. Tim Stowe walked me through the process. Dr. Stowe, let's go back 1 year. Schools closed due to the global COVID-19 pandemic, of course. And now education and schools look understandably different than before. Taking on a phased approach, in December, January, and February, K through second grade students returned for in-person blended learning. And third through fifth grade students returned early March. And 6 through 12. At this point, families that chose to send their children back to school are able to. How did you and your team get to this point?
Well, it really began last spring when we knew we were out likely for the rest of the last school year, and we're looking forward to the 2021 school year. We convened a task force that represented all of our labor partners, parents, teachers, and administrators from every grade level. And that group met weekly and still now meets less than weekly, but still at least once a month, to do all the planning and preparations and communication around reopening. The task force in May also branched out into 5 subcommittees that involved instruction, health and safety, human resources, all of the kinds of things that we knew we needed to do in order to bring students back to school safely. I don't think any of us really expected it would be this long. We were planning for an August reopening. It was the first year that our schools were open before Labor Day. And so we really had that target in mind. And as it became more clear that the year was going to start remotely, we did surveys. We knew parents weren't going to want to have their students back on campus for the whole year, some parents. We also knew that some parents would want their students in classrooms when it was safe to do so. And so we asked the parents to opt into either the distance program or the blended program. Distance meaning they would be off campus all year, and the blended, they would come back when it was safe. We had about roughly 2/3 of the parents that surveyed wanted their students on campus, and so they were in the blended program. Communication was huge for us. We had numerous parent Q&As, teacher Q&As. We had almost 50 hours of on-camera time, whether it was school board meetings, special school board meetings, Q&As, just information sessions for parents and staff all over the summer to keep those lines of communication open, as well as numerous written communications to all these groups.
So can you describe for me what school looks like now?
At our elementary schools, parents need to do the screener. We have a screener where students can come on campus only after they've answered certain questions that relate to their daily health screening. And so that's the first line. We want to make sure that, as we have all along, that our schools are safe for students, for staff, for the community. And we're very proud that, having been visited by the Department of Public Health staff, all of our schools were very safe, and in fact, we were recognized by the staff that visited what a great job our folks have done. It's incorporating all the teacher perspective and the custodians and the clerical staff. Everybody has been able to provide input into what it looks like. Just to maybe describe the day in the life of an elementary school student. So they'll arrive at school Some of the parents will drop them off now that we've been in school a little bit. It's a pretty smooth transition. Some parents choose to walk them to the gate on campus. We'll have someone at the gate taking a temperature. In most cases, students will then come on campus. They've got markings on the ground where the students line up prior to going into class. The classrooms, the desks are all 6 feet apart, and students are able to each have their own basket of materials, pencils, pens, those kinds of things that they use, so that students aren't sharing the learning utensils, if you will. That's been something that parents have been very pleased with. Teachers have been very pleased. We require masks of all students at all times. And at our elementary schools, many people thought that the elementary students wouldn't be able to keep their masks on, but I visited near every school, and the students are doing just fine with regard to that. 6 through 12 is a little more complicated just because of the way master schedules work at the secondary level. In the elementary schools, we have groups in the AM and the PM. So half of the class will come in the AM from 9 to 11:30, and then there's a break for lunch, and then half will come from 12:30 to 3. And so at the middle and high school, when students have 6 different classes they need to attend, they're not going to be able to do that. So we have a group called the Instructional Committee, and it's a representative of teachers and administrators from each of our schools at the secondary level. And they have put together different models that will comply with Department of Public Health guidelines, as well as provide some consistency in the way that students have been learning all year. And that is a block schedule where students on one day will attend periods 1, 3, and 5, and then another day they'll attend periods 2, 4, and 6. Wednesdays are a fully virtual online day where students learn from home and they see all of their teachers on that day. So 4 days a week are what we would call block schedule, and then that 1 day a week the students see all of their teachers.
How have students taken to virtual learning from where you're sitting?
I think they've done amazing. The students, the teachers, we have at the elementary level, we have a team of resource teachers that work based out of the district office that have developed curriculum for all of the grades and all of the subjects at the elementary level. So teachers are utilizing some of those modules. Some are just doing it all on their own. We've provided whatever resources that teachers had requested over the summer. We had a committee review all those. A lot of people say that students aren't learning in this environment. They are learning. In fact, I have 2 students of my own that are here in school in Torrance Unified, and undoubtedly their experience has been very positive. Do we think students learn better in person and that's a more enjoyable experience? Yes. I don't believe that you're going to find anyone that's going to argue that. But at the same time, parents have been more involved in their learning out of necessity, but I think that's also been a benefit for them as well. And learning has really become not just something that happens at school, but it's really a community-wide effort to ensure that our students are maintaining the high quality of education that we expect and that we deliver here in Torrance Unified.
You mentioned your children who are students in the Torrance district. How have you been handling it, not just as the superintendent, but as a father?
I am thankful that they're demonstrating and really have grown academically, but also in the responsibility of taking care of their business and the work that they know they need to do. It's the teachers that I'm so impressed with, and the fact that they reach out, they're updating grades on a regular basis, they're keeping students in, whether it be before, during lunch, or after school, and having special study sessions and tutorial time for students that need it. You know, I think really everybody's risen to the occasion.
So, Dr. Stowe, obviously educators now are able to get vaccinated. Where do you stand with your teachers in this process?
We have been working very hard for a couple of months to make sure this has happened. We've needed to align with partners in the community, and so we partnered with the Torrance Fire Department, the hospital Little Company Mary through Providence. Those 2 community partners have been very influential in assisting along those lines of getting our folks vaccinated. And beyond that, we have thousands of our folks are going out and getting vaccinations elsewhere at different locations in the community. So We have roughly 3,700 employees that we have reached out to and wanted to make sure that they have an opportunity, if they so choose, to get a vaccination. And I think we are about at the end of folks that want to do it. So we've given over 1,000, but that means there's a lot more going out there on their own and getting it.
We are now a year into this, and there does seem to be a light at the end of the tunnel. Teachers are getting vaccinated. A modified sports season has begun with some competitions. Meals continue to be provided for students, whether they are receiving in-person or online instruction. The district has accomplished so much in the span of a year to keep student learning and well-being at the forefront. As we enter the last weeks of the school year, how do you envision keeping this trajectory going, ending the school year on a positive note?
Well, first, we're not letting our guard down, and that's something that we continue to emphasize. But that doesn't mean the pandemic is over, and health and safety is tantamount to the work that we're doing. So cleaning protocols, masks, distancing, all of those protocols that we know work and that we've seen work are continuing to be emphasized. It's great for those students that are able to participate in some of the activities on campus and those that are coming back. We also know that it's been quite a challenge for many students. So we're making sure that we're supporting students. Social and emotional health is so important to that work, and counselors and social workers that we have that are reaching out to students and families to make sure that we support, whether they're transitioning back to school or still in that distance program. We're still pressing forward with making sure that students are learning and that they're getting the support that they need. As we enter the spring and see more of the health data, and as the Department of Public Health allows us to maybe have some other events on campus, I know people are now thinking of graduation and other kinds of end-of-year transitions from one level to the next. That is something that we will be working on very closely with the County Office of Education as well as the Department of Public Health to really celebrate the students and what they've accomplished, especially those that are seniors and are going to be going on and leaving our doors onto great things. We want to make sure that we honor them and recognize them in whatever way that we can that celebrates their time, and we do that in a safe manner.